the word question to 215-989-9858. Brothers and sisters, the coons are alive. Okay. Okay, I think we got somebody right here. Voice call.
Hello.
Good morning, Queen. Did you have... And where are you calling from?
And my...
I just want to block this person who's trying to disrupt. That's all.
Okay.
Block. Okay. They were blocked. Okay. And you said Chesapeake, Virginia, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I'll probably be coming, right before you ask your question, I'll probably be coming to Chesapeake sometime next month, August. I'm planning for my new book, Black Parent Advocate, The Art of War for Dealing with America's Public and Charter Schools. I'm planning to have that book released next month, and I'm going to do a black bookstore tour, and I will be coming to the 7 cities. So you could just stay up on my Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and that information will be posted there. Go right ahead with your question.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me relax myself first. Okay, my child is a boy, 13 years old. Yes, my husband is in our lives, and I have 2 boys. Mm-hmm. One is I guess, as the world would say it, he's regular, and the other one is special needs. He does have an IEP. We have an advocate that helps us, who is my brother-in-law. He's a speech pathologist, but he's out of New York, so it's kind of hard to do that, when he. But he's so much involved in our boys' lives as well. However, when we're down here, I really can't tell. Now, okay, let me start from the beginning. My child does not have any behavior problems. I do know that ADD,
ADHD. There's no longer any ADD.
Right, I know. And that's kind of the problem. But they diagnosed him with autism and also ADHD.
Okay.
And I was wondering about that because, they tried to give him Adderall. Now, mind you, I only gave it to him. I did actually give it to him 2 years ago. But last school year, I did not give it to him at all. And he still did very well because both my husband and I hunkered down on him when it came to him actually doing his homework and doing his work correctly. But I mean, it was like we were in the classroom with him. We were always there. My issue is that do you think that natural remedies would help him focus better? Do you think that...
and this is for a child who has a dual diagnosis or classification of autism and ADHD. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And now, what grade is he in?
He's just now going to the 8th grade.
Okay, so right now, the current school year, he's an 8th grader.
Yes.
And this is a public or a charter school?
It is a public school.
And is it predominantly black students, or what does the student make up?
It is predominantly black and Hispanic. But mainly black.
And what about the teachers? They're mostly what?
White.
Mostly white. Okay. Mm-hmm. Question. Did you hear my earlier comments when I responded to the sister from the United Kingdom about behavior and having someone come into the school to observe the child? Did you hear about that?
You know what? I did. I kind of heard a little bit of it.
Let me review that a little bit. Couple of things. Number one, that ADHD thing, I don't support it. Because the only solution for ADHD is a medication. And I want every black parent who's listening and watching this on Instagram and on Facebook to understand something. When you get your child evaluated for ADHD, the only solution, and it's not a solution because it causes more problems, the only solution they have, I don't care if you live in the United States, I don't care if you live in the United Kingdom. I don't care if you live in the Republic of South Africa. I don't care if you live in Canada. The only solution that they have for that diagnosis is medication. That's it. There's nothing else they want with that label except drugs. So if we do not believe in drugging our babies, if we do not believe in Ritalin, Adderall, Concerta, Metadate, if we don't believe in this, crack for kids, because that's all it is, synthesized cocaine. If you don't believe in crack for kids, we should not be getting our children evaluated for ADHD. And I'm not coming down on you, Queen. It's just that it bothers me for two reasons. And I don't fault our parents because y'all don't know this. Number one, once they know you have that label, they can put pressure on you through Child Protective Services to administer the medication. And once the medication is administered, they can put more pressure on you to make sure you do not stop. One of the fastest growing reasons for the removal of black children from the black home is failure to medicate. They are taking our kids from us. They are literally taking our children from us for discontinuing the medication or not getting the medication. And that's why we have to stop the ADHD evaluations. It is a trap. Now, in your case, we're a little late on that because they already know about the label. He's already on medication. Is that correct?
No, he is not. I stopped it about a year and a half ago.
Okay, you didn't have no issues from the school?
And I haven't went to go get any refills, anything like that.
Okay.
And he's been doing very well without it.
Okay,
when
so...
I say very well, exceptionally well.
So, okay, so if he's doing well without the medicine, then your concern today is not really behavior then, right? Or
it's not behavior. It was never behavior. I don't know why they put ADHD on him, because I know that he has a focusing issue. However, we just have to continuously redirect him to make sure that he actually does what he's supposed to do as far as school is concerned, home, church, and when he's outside. He is socially awkward. That doesn't deem him needing medication.
Let me interrupt you for a second, because I want you to refocus me now, Queen, because I thought your main issue was behavior, but it's not. What is your main issue? What is your purpose for the call today? I want to make sure I'm clear.
Because I want to know if he should take like not home remedy, but like natural.
For what condition?
Natural medications.
For what?
For focusing, to stay focused on the task that he is asked to do. Like even just, cleaning his room, he'll, do something else, go to his phone or something like that.
I don't think, for me, and I want to be clear, focus is a byproduct of interest and motivation. Focus is a byproduct of interest and motivation. Now, I don't have a problem with you going to Whole Foods or the local black, herb store and getting you some ADHD herbal concoctions because they're out there. There's a product known as Be Calm. There's a product known as Calm Child. There's a product known as Melissa Supreme. Every herbalist has their own little remedy for ADHD, right? The problem, though, is no remedy can make a child focus. No herbs, no vegetarianism. Any herbalist who tells you that they got something that's going to make your child focus, they're lying. There's nothing that'll make a person, there's no food, no herb, nothing that can make you focus. Now, there's things that can calm you down. There's things that can calm down the central nervous system. There's things that can reduce brain activity. You understand? But there's nothing that can focus you, because focus is a product of interest and motivation. Which is why, not to get off topic, but which is why I've been approached in the past by black herbalists who wanted me to endorse ADHD concoctions, and I cannot do it. I told them I cannot do it because it's misleading. Because although your herb may calm down the central nervous system, your herb can't make a child focus. You see, now you can tell a black parent that because they don't have a doctorate degree in clinical psychology. You can't tell me that. There's no herb that's going to make a child focus. That's a lie. Focus is a product of interest and motivation. You see, so the question is, what can we do to improve your child's interests? And what can we do to raise their motivation? And I'm going to tell you right off the top, one of the best motivators for a child is disciplinary incentives. In other words, if you don't focus and get this work right, this is going to be the consequence. When you do focus and get this work right, this is what's going to be the reward. So in your household, you and your husband need to have a behavioral management system for your children. Each of them should have their own calendar, dry erase calendar, where you record their behavior for the whole month, and you set a goal with them, and you say, listen, there's 30 days in the month, 20 of them are school days. We want to see at least 15 out of 20 school days and 20 out of 30 days overall of positive, productive work. That includes all your chores. That includes homework. If you hit 20 out of 30, we're going to consider that a successful month. There will be a reward at the end of that 30-day period.
Oh, okay.
On the flip side, if you fail to achieve the goal on any given day, there will be a punishment each and every day that you fail to achieve the goal. In other words, Queen, I want you to be clear, and I want all parents to be clear. Punishments are every day that the child fails the goal. Every day there's a punishment if they fail. The reason that is we're trying to eliminate misbehavior. We're trying to eliminate irresponsibility. We're trying to eliminate dysfunctionality. So you punish every day they fail to meet the goal. But you only reward on a fixed schedule at the end of the month. And I'm saying at the end of the month for your son because they're a little older. If your son was 5 years old, it'll probably be at the end of the week. If your son was 8, 9 years old, it'll probably be every 2 weeks. If your son was 12, 13, where you are, it'll be every 3 weeks to a month. Okay, the younger they are, the smaller the intervention window must be, if that makes sense to you. Okay?
Yes.
But you reward only on a schedule. You punish every single time. It's what I call double motivation. Double motivation. Punishments and rewards. If you only punish misbehavior and you don't reward positive behavior, you may not see any positive behavior. This is why kids end up getting abused by their parents, because the parent is only punishing misbehavior. If you only punish the misbehavior, you're not showing the child what you want them to do. So the child is like, okay, I'm getting my behind in trouble because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, but my parents are not showing me what I'm supposed to do. So when you reward the good behavior, then the child says, oh, this is what they want me to do. This is what they want me to see. You understand? So we have to make sure we punish the misbehavior, but we reward the positive behavior.
Okay, so make a calendar.
Yes.
For each of my boys. I
Yes.
only have 2 boys at 13 and 9.
Right. Every child has their own calendar.
It'll be
too confusing to have all that on the same calendar.
I know, right? And when they do not do it what they are supposed to do as far as school and home, within, you say, like a 20-day period, you reward them if they, max out the 20-day period?
Exactly, because this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
You and your husband are going to decide what should be our reinforcement or reward schedule, right? So 13, I'm going off the age. So for your 13-year-old, 3 weeks to a month, I think will be appropriate for him. Your 9-year-old, probably 2 to 3 weeks, because he's a little younger. The younger the child are, the less discipline they're going to have. You can't expect the 5-year-old to go 20 days. You feel me? Without messing up. You can expect that from a 13-year-old. 20 out of 30. Which, because that allows them to basically mess up once every 3 days. That ain't too bad. Right? Okay. So y'all decide that. Now, if your child is really off the hook, you might have to go 2 weeks. Because, in other words, if he's getting in trouble 3 days out of 5, he can't go 3 weeks because he's getting in trouble 3 days out of 5. So I might start him off on 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, if you give me 7 good days out of 10, that's going to be considered a successful week. And there will be a reward at the end of the 2-week period. The point is, Queen, is you got to meet your child where they are. Okay. In other words, don't demand excellence of a child who's not excellent. We got to work to it. So you might say, Dr. Umar said, 30 days. He want 20 good days out of 30. That's a 30-day reinforcement schedule. But you might say, my son can't. That's a bit much for him. We're going to start him out on 14 days. And it's perfectly fine. It's all about meeting your child where they are and then growing that behavior. What's going to make or break it, though, is how consistent you and your husband are. You have to be consistent. The number one reason we cannot change behavior is we're not consistent with the punishments or the rewards. We are helter-skelter. We are scatterbrained, which is why I always tell parents, you cannot teach discipline if you don't have any. You cannot teach discipline if you don't have any. You cannot teach discipline if you don't have any. And the beautiful thing is you're in a home with a 2-parent home. Right? So you don't have to do this on your own. A lot of our mothers are single mothers. 67% of our kids are being raised by the mother alone. And that's going to be tough on her to raise those kids, pay those bills, and manage behavior. But you have a husband. So together, there's no problem. In fact, y'all might even take one child apiece. Y'all could do them together. It's only 2 of them. Y'all could do them together. Or y'all could say, you know what? You take him, I'm going to take him. It's totally up to you guys. But you got to be consistent. Consistency. Because here's the thing. If your son is more committed to maintaining his misbehavior than you are committed to changing his misbehavior will continue. You have to be more motivated than your child. And this is the big mistake we make. Because we say we're going to do this behavior plan. But guess what? The kid already knows that my mom ain't got no willpower. If your son knows my mom ain't got no willpower, he not going to take your behavior plan serious because he know by the weekend you're going to throw your hands up and walk away. And the problem is our children often have more willpower than their parents. Our children often have more willpower than their parents, and that's the problem.
I also have another question.
Sure.
It came up where my 13-year-old wanted to switch to a quote-unquote regular class. Uh-huh. For last school year, just a few, just about a month or so ago. So just last school year, he kept pressing us to go to a regular class because he wanted to be with the quote unquote regular kids.
Is this the autistic kid?
This is the 13-year-old.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have an issue with my 9-year-old.
Gotcha.
Just my 13.
Go ahead.
So he's pressing us to go to a regular class. Both my husband and I said that we don't think that he is mentally ready because he's so socially awkward. He says the wrong things at the wrong time. Uh-huh. He kind of pushes himself to be somebody's friend. Okay. And then they kind of shy away from him because of some of the things that he says. Okay. It's just not. Some things are inappropriate. Some things are just awkward. You know. However, we're not that worried about that side of it. Okay. We're more worried about him being able to stay on task with the assignments that will be at hand. It will become 9th grade. So we're thinking now in the future of, should we, when he gets into high school, into 9th grade, should we put him into a quote unquote regular class with the other students just all the way through?
Okay.
No special education, none of that.
Okay.
Because he's been in this class since, goodness gracious, since he was very young. I would say second grade,
So
third grade.
let me jump
until
in.
now.
Let me jump in.
Yes. Yes.
So your autistic son has been in a self-contained special ed classroom since what grade?
I think second grade.
Okay. So he's been in a full-time special ed class from second grade to the 8th grade. Is that correct?
That is correct. But he's had some classes, not all.
Right.
At least 2 classes outside of the special education.
And what classes were those?
It would probably be like science or English, something like that sort, or social studies. I know definitely social studies.
Okay.
This year, and
let me answer. I got enough info.
Reading.
Gotcha. Okay. This is a good one. So we have a kid, autism, been in a full-time special ed class from second grade to 8th grade. He told his parents he's ready to get out that special class and go to the regular class.
Right.
Okay. First of all, I'm proud of your son. Second of all, the fact that he's saying that tells me he don't need to be in no special ed class all day. Okay?
Right.
I wish we would have had this conversation about 4 years ago, because it's never a good thing to leave any child in a special ed class full time. Okay? Unless he also has a concomitant disability of intellectual disability. Is your son intellectually delayed?
No.
Okay,
no.
He's not. So
actually, can you elaborate a little bit more on what that is?
I am. Intellectual disability is what used to be called mental retardation.
Oh, no, he doesn't. No.
Exactly. So he should have never been in a full-time autistic class anyway, that long. Okay? Okay, now I do understand your concern. You don't want to take a kid who's been in a full-time class since second grade and thrust them into a regular class cold turkey, right?
Right.
So what you want to do is you want to start stepping him down. And so what I mean by stepping him down, and of course school is out right now, but let's say they go back in the fall. And so in the fall, he will be in 9th grade, correct?
No, he'll be in the 8th grade.
So
he'll be in the 8th grade.
So he's in the 7th now then?
I guess you could say that. Because he passed to the 8th grade. When it's the summertime and they pass to that grade.
Right. Okay, so he just finished the 7th. He's going to the 8th.
That's correct. Yes, he just finished the 7th grade.
Okay.
He's going to the 8th.
So when he go to the 8th grade, what I would do is I would step him down by 50%. So half the time in the special class, half the time in the regular class. And then I would, make sure I monitor my son, stay in close communication with him about how he's doing. And let's say by the new year, okay, if he says I can handle more of the regular class and his grades support that, I would step him down even more to maybe only 25% of special ed. Okay? And then by the time he gets to high school, full-time regular education. So I do believe in stepping him down. I don't believe in cold turkeying him. Now, once you step him down and he ain't got no adjustment issues, and he like, look, mom and dad, I'm liking my class. I don't need to go to that special class no more. Then go ahead and call an IEP meeting and exit him out of special ed altogether. He should have been part-time these whole 6 years anyway. He should have never been full-time. And this is why I'm saying this.
Okay.
And I'm going to get your response, and then I'm going to move on to another call. But we can always schedule a private consultation. Autism is a communications disability. Just because you have autism don't mean you have a problem learning in the regular class. Your son's issues are mostly social skills, okay, which is what autism is, a limitation in verbal and nonverbal communication with others. So what your son needs is social skills training. Y'all need to get that on the IEP. What he might also need is a one-on-one aid in the class. A one-to-one aid in the class to help him navigate the social terrain. But what you don't want to do with an autistic child, is hold him back academically because he's delayed socially. And that's what too many autistic parents do. And that's also what too many autistic IEP teams do. They will say, even though your son can handle regular work in the regular class in 8th grade, because he's socially awkward, we're going to deny him appropriate academics in the regular class. We're going to deny him that, even though he can do it, we're going to deny him that and hold him back in a full-time autistic class because he's socially awkward. He's always going to be socially awkward. He's autistic, but we don't want him to also be academically awkward. You see, so this is what happens a lot with the autistic black boys. You see, their academics is being punished to the social. Don't ever do that. Give him the supports that he needs in the regular class to be successful there. So if it's me, I'm calling an IEP meeting and I'm demanding a one-to-one aid. Now, he don't need one all day long. Pick and choose the subjects where you think he would most need that one-to-one aid, and you communicate that to the IEP team. We want it for English. We want it for math. We want it for social studies. That's it. Okay, 3 hours out the day. The other couple days, we want him to try to make the other couple hours of the day. We want him to try to make it on his own. But never punish an autistic child's academics for the social. He not in school for the social. He in school for the academics.
That's correct.
And the good thing about now is y'all got a year to test it all out before he go to high school. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that young man wants to get out of special ed. Because guess what? Special ed kids are not socially graduated in America anymore. Okay? When I went to school, when you went to school, maybe, okay? We went to school with kids who were socially graduated. Even if they couldn't read, they got a regular diploma. Even if they couldn't count, they got a regular diploma. Even if they couldn't spell their own name, they got a regular high school diploma. George Bush destroyed that when he brought out the No Child Left Behind. And although we're no longer under that, we're under the Obama's educational law, Reach to Achieve, or whatever it was, which is just an update of No Child Left Behind. But kids, special ed kids are not socially graduated no more. They have to pass the same tests. They have to qualify for state graduation criteria. And if they don't, they're not getting a diploma. And we don't want that happening to your son, because he ain't got no reason not to get a regular diploma, because he's telling y'all right now, I can do the work. And I believe him, because autism is not a intellectual disability. It is a social disability. So we do not want to handicap him academically for the social. Get him a one-to-one aid.
Yeah, well, okay. So he does have someone to go into the regular classrooms with him.
Okay.
Like, the English and the social
So it
studies.
sounds like he already has the aid, and it
Yes.
sounds like we just need to increase his time in the regular ed setting.
I think so. And so should I, when the school year starts, or before the school year starts, when the teachers go back, should I call for an emergency IEP?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You don't even have to use the word emergency if you want, but I want an IEP meeting to discuss my son's program and placement. Remember, the IEP team has 3 responsibilities. Program. What is your son going to learn while he's in special ed? Placement. Where is he going to receive his special ed? So your issue is predominantly placement with some program. Program is special ed curriculum, right? So you want to reduce full-time to part-time. That's a placement issue, right? So IEP team is placement, the where, program, the what, okay? And yes, you want to call an IEP meeting, let them know I want to reduce my son's level of service. I want to reduce my son's level of service. I want to reduce him from full-time down to 50%, 75%, and they're going to fight you. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to fight you, because once a black boy is in special ed all day, they don't like to let him out of special ed jail. But you're going to have to let them know, if you don't make this change, I will not sign the IEP. And you can also take them the due process and make them reduce his level of service.
Level of service.
Level of service. IEP. Program placement progress. You're going to reduce your son's level of service. That is a placement concern.
Okay.
You got me?
So because I know he can do the work. Because both my husband and I, we are on it. When I say we are on it, I think they're actually tired of us.
Let them get tired. You don't care about them. We don't care about them. They get paid. We don't care if they get tired or not.
Stand him. He has a PhD. They hate him.
Yeah, we don't care about what they think. It's all about the child. The only people who got to live with the consequences of your child being miseducated is you and your husband. I don't care how much attitude they got. And you actually, if you want to, you can call an IEP meeting now. You don't even have to wait because the school year is out. You could still have an IEP meeting over the summer. You could request it now if you wanted to. They still do meet during the summer, but there's nothing wrong with you requesting it as soon as September or August rolls back around, whenever your school district naturally begins the school year again.
That sounds like
all right?
a good idea.
So let me do this, my beautiful African queen. I want to run and get another parent on, but you have my number. So at any time, if we need to do a private consult, just send me a text message.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Umar.
No problem, love. Good luck with that. But get him out of there, though. By high school, we want him out of there, and we need to use next year as the step down.
I surely will. Thank you so much.
Okay, love. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hello.
Good morning, Queen. Did you have a call for the Black Parent Conference?
Yes, sir, I do.
And where are you calling from?
My son, Sean.
Where are you? Chicago, did you say?
No, sir. I'm calling from Jackson, Tennessee, but I'm originally from Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay, you're calling from Jackson, Tennessee, but you're originally from Lexington, Kentucky. Go right ahead with your question.
My son, Shango, he just turned 7. I homeschooled him from pre-K all the way up until he went to public brick and mortar school. We had used a virtual academy, which was also a public school.
Okay.
But I did it because he has a speech impediment. He stutters.
Okay.
And
stop right there. I got a question before you continue, and I might stop you from time to time to make sure I'm clear.
Okay.
Even though he was getting homeschooled,
yes, sir,
he could have still gotten speech therapy through the school district. Did he get speech therapy all this time?
He didn't start stuttering until there was an incident that took place. It was had something to do. It didn't have to do with school that caused him. It kind of
I understand. It was induced by something. Got you.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead with your question.
And as well, I'm a single mother, and I was working, and so I had to put him in brick and mortar because it was just overwhelming for me. And because I have another son as well that was being homeschooled. And as soon as I put him in brick and mortar, the stuttering issue, I guess the way that he responds, they wanted to turn it out to be a behavioral issue because he was getting upset, and distracted because he really does have a hard time now. And I had a consultation with the principal and his teacher, as well as another individual. They called me up there and they wanted me to put my son in speech therapy. I had really recommended it at first, and then I never heard anything else about it. I kept contacting them, kept contacting them, and then it went from that to, we need to get your son evaluated for ADHD. We need to get him evaluated because he's not focusing. He's not this. Mind you, my son is a kinesthetic learner. He's very hands-on. When I homeschool him, you have to engage with certain children. Don't learn the same. So I was just trying to work with them to see what type of solution we could come up with, because a child, if they feel like he wasn't speaking up because every time he would try to speak, they would laugh, or the teacher wouldn't be as patient with them. Okay. And I noticed here they cutting back funding on the education. They're closing schools and building jails here.
Got you. Let me deal with the question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You said that you brought up to them that you wanted your son evaluated for speech. Someone in the school also suggested that he get evaluated for speech.
Yes.
You also said that he still has not been evaluated for speech.
Correct.
When did you initially request a speech and language evaluation? When? Give me a month and a year.
This was when I transitioned him from virtual homeschool to.
Give me a month and a year. When did you make the request? Give me a month and a year.
This was in October of 2019.
So October of 2019, you made who did you make the request to, and how did you make the request?
Well, I made the request, when you have to enroll your child.
No. I want you to be specific. Who?
I made it to
did
the
you
principal.
say it to the principal, special ed coordinator, school counselor? Who?
I had to talk to the principal.
So you made the request to the principal?
Yes.
And you made it verbally?
Yes, sir. I sat down with her and had a meeting.
Okay. And you still remember who you made it to, right?
Yes. Well, now the schools have been closed since April.
No. Stay with me. Stay
Yes,
with
sir.
me. You adding stuff that ain't got nothing to do with my questions, beautiful.
Okay.
You remember who you made your request to?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is how you need to deal with this. A school has 60 days to evaluate a child and provide the parent with the evaluation report. Do you follow me?
Yes, sir.
60 calendar days. You made your request October of 19. So that means sometime during December of 19, no later than January, depending on how late we were, you should have had a speech and language evaluation in your hand. After you told the principal that you wanted to eval, you should have been given a permission to evaluate form. So what you're telling me right now, if it's all correct, the school has failed to provide your child with the speech and language evaluation that you requested. That is a federal violation of their obligation. With that being said, if it were me, this is what I would do. I would write a letter to the principal and I would carbon copy the director of special education for the district. I would write a letter to the principal and I would carbon copy the director of special education for the district. And I would say I made a verbal request to the principal during a meeting, October of 19, for a speech and language evaluation. Everyone in the school knows that my son has a stuttering problem. I was never given a permission to evaluate form. My child was never evaluated. It has been more than 60 days. I am now demanding an independent speech and language evaluation. I no longer trust this school district to properly evaluate and provide my son with the speech and language services that he needs. The school has complained about my son's behavior. But his behavior is the result of frustration that grows out of the fact that you all have failed to evaluate and provide him with the service. Any child with a speech problem who has trouble communicating is going to get frustrated and get angry. He don't have no ADHD. He's not emotionally disturbed. He got a speech problem that's being ignored. Subsequent to him being evaluated, you'll also need to develop a functional behavioral assessment and positive behavior plan for my son, as this is required by federal special ed law whenever you have a disabled child with a behavioral issue. And then they're going to come back and say, well, let one of our other speech therapists evaluate him. And you're going to say, no, I want an independent. And the reason I want an independent is because teachers are already trying to get my son diagnosed with ADHD and put on meds, so I don't trust nobody in your district to fairly evaluate my son. I want it done by an outside provider who will not be influenced by anybody who works for this school district.
They were also suggesting to hold him back because...
Stop. Did you understand what I just said?
Absolutely.
Okay. Continue.
They were also suggesting to hold him back in kindergarten because of it. And
well, he's not in kindergarten anymore though, right? You said he's 7.
Yes.
So what grade is he in this year that just ended?
In the first grade when they did all this.
No. What grade did he just complete this year that just ended? What grade?
First grade. They want him to repeat it.
No, I wouldn't let them repeat. No. I wouldn't. I would tell them, y'all failed to evaluate and provide services. My son is going to the second grade, and he's going to go to second grade with the services that he needs. You need an independent evaluation. You should write the letter. You should email it to me. You should let me take a quick look at it and then send it into the school. That's your situation.
Have your email?
I'll text it to you. Text me. Well, you have a pen. I'll give it to you now. You got a pen?
Yes.
It's DrUmar Johnson. DrUmar JOHNSON. Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'll look to talk to you. Keep me posted on what's going on.
Thank you.
All right, guys. If you don't pick up the phone, I won't be calling you back a second time. That was a coon. That was a coon. That was a coon. If you have a question, text the word question.
I'm sorry, your message cannot be recorded.
Okay. If you have a question, text the word question.
Hello?
Yes. Did you have a question for the Black Parent Teleconference?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So,
Can you wait? Stop. Can you turn down the TV or radio or whatever you got on in the back? It's too much background noise.
is that better?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
Minnesota?
Minnesota, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Go right ahead with your question.
Okay, so now I can think better. So the question is, I have my 13-year-old son. I have been dealing with these schools out here for the last 7 years. Well, last 6 since 2014. He was introduced into the school. We're in a predominantly white neighborhood, predominantly white kids. He's one of few. Okay, so we started out with having issues with his diet. His diet was the issue. He had major issues where he couldn't eat corn, soy, wheat, peanuts, treatment. So we got that issue fixed. Okay? Then we've come to the issue of, and so he was more or less ostracized while he was going through that situation. And so it created a situation of him feeling like he wasn't able to do much of anything as far as interacting with everybody else because of his diet. So now we're moving ahead to where he's at now, 7th grade. These issues have followed him. He's no longer having the diet issues. Now we're having straight out complete behavioral issues. It's to the point now to where he's being removed out of the classroom for just, disruption. He's not violent. He's not doing anything. And so I'm asking the school to help me out in regards to because they want him tested for ADHD. I do not feel like he has a attention deficit issue. I feel like it's more or less the issue of not being provided any support in the school as far as having more social things that he's able to have access to.
Okay. How long has he been at this particular school?
Well, this school that this is a new school that he's at now, and he just started this school, let's see, we're in 2020, so he just started this school last September.
This school year that just ended, was this his first full year there or his second?
This was his first full year.
So you only been there a year.
Right.
7th grade. Never been retained, right?
No.
Is he a special ed student?
Well, that's what we're trying to get. No, he's not a special ed student, but
Okay,
they're trying
you
to
are
get him
you.
off.
Okay.
Huh?
Finish. They're trying to get him in special ed, or you trying to get him in special ed?
They're trying to get him into special ed. They're trying to get him to be committed as mentally disturbed. Because
No. There's no classification in special ed called mentally disturbed. There is an emotional disturbance. Is that what you're talking
there
about?
you go. Yeah.
Okay. So most of the students at this school is white. Is that correct?
Yep.
Most of the teachers are white. Is that correct?
Yep.
How many other black students were in your son's class this past school year?
This school, he has more African American students as well as
Stop.
African students.
Specific question. How many other black kids were in your son's classroom this school year that just ended?
I would say maybe 10.
There were 10 black kids in his class?
And I mean, he moved around classes. He's in 7th grade.
Okay. But even
So
though
I
he
would
moves
say
around
that's
classes, he
10.
stays with the same students, though. Even though you go from class to class, you stay with the same students. As you,
Right.
I'm just saying 10 because 10 sounds like they must have a lot of black kids there if he got 10 black classmates.
Well, I'm just saying that as far as like throughout the day. 6 classes, he's at least running into 10 students throughout his day.
Okay. Did you hear my conversation with a parent earlier, maybe 2-3 calls
I
ago?
did.
Okay,
I did.
that's your situation. So this is what I would do if I were you. This is exactly what you need to do. First of all, the behavior problem. What exactly are they saying he's doing?
That's the problem. He's not doing anything.
No. You didn't. No. Answer my question. What
Okay.
are they saying he's doing?
They're saying he's disrespectful.
But what are they saying he's doing? Disrespectful doesn't tell me what he's doing. What are they saying he's doing?
Not completing the work.
He's not doing his work. Anything else?
He gets up out of the classroom without asking.
So your son will get up and walk out.
Yep.
Well, first of all, that's on you. Right there. Your son is in a hostile environment. And I'm not coming down on you. I'm saying this for the benefit of all the parents who are watching on Facebook and Instagram. You can't have a black boy at a white school who gonna get up and walk out the class. He cannot do that. They will end up getting him classified emotionally disturbed. They will end up forcing you to put him on drugs. They will end up sending him to a discipline school, alternative school, juvenile delinquency center. He can't do that. There's no excuse to get up and walk out the class unless he get up and walk to the principal and say, hey, I'm being mistreated by the teacher. That's a little bit different. But even then, he just can't do that. So automatically, I'm thinking, that your son is contributing to this because you don't walk out no class. So
He is, and I can't honestly say that he is. And the biggest issue that we're having with him is that, again, we lost his sister 3 years ago. And
his
so
sister passed away. You didn't say that. His sister passed away?
Yes, his sister passed away.
My condolences. What was the cause of death?
She had a massive asthma attack.
How
And
old
so
was she?
She was 15.
And he is how? Okay, she was 15 at the time she passed.
She
So,
was 10 at the time when he passed.
Okay.
When she passed, and
Okay.
he has asthma as well.
okay, hear me out. First of all, I want every parent to understand something. It is always what y'all don't tell the psychologist that could have made all the difference in the world. Now, you just mentioned his sister passed away, but you almost didn't mention the sister passed away. Are you following me?
Well, I mentioned it earlier to you. So,
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear it.
But-
But anyway,
Yeah.
that changes everything. Because
Right.
this just went from a badass black boy situation
Right.
to a boy who is grieving
Yes.
the loss of a sibling. Do you understand? That changes the whole thing. Now,
and the school knows his sister. They know who she was and everything. So
okay, let me continue.
Okay.
I got you. I follow you.
All right. Okay.
A letter needs to go from you to the principal, and that letter needs to state that my son, I'm constantly being contacted about my son's behavior. My son lost his sister 3 years ago. He's going through an adjustment phase right now because he lost a sibling. His behavior is a function of that grief. His frustration is a function of that grief. I am asking the school to be respectful of my family and supportive of my son as he goes through this process. Then the letter should also say this, but then I need to ask you if you've done this. Has your son received grief counseling outside the school?
Yes. We've been doing counseling since we started school.
Okay,
Since
stop.
Okay.
Is he still getting the counseling or is it over?
He's still getting it. It's just now it's more or less him not really engaging with the therapist.
Okay, so if he's not engaging with the therapist, he needs another one.
Right. Well, that's the other issue. That's why I'm sitting here, and that's why I'm saying I need help.
What's the other issue about the therapist? All you have to do is contact that he was going through an agency?
No, he was going more or less through my insurance.
Okay, then you get another therapist through your insurance. Now, what is the challenge with that?
The challenge with that is he wants a man. We're dealing with a lot of women.
Okay, then I'm certain.
He wants a black man.
Yeah, and he needs a black man.
Right.
And here's the situation, though. You said you're in a predominantly white area.
Yeah.
How far are you from the closest black town? How far are you from
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis.
I'm about a 25-minute drive.
Okay, so you can drive. So what you want to do is get on the phone with your insurance and a lot of times they don't break it down by race. That's fine. That means you're going to get on the phone and you're going to call every provider that they give you. And you're going to ask them, do they have a black male therapist on staff? And if they say no, you're going to ask them, do they have any recommendations for one? Okay, so you're going to have to do some work, get on phone, call every provider till you find a black male. If they don't have one, always ask, do they have a recommendation for one? The other thing you can do, you should do, contact the universities and colleges where you live.
Okay.
And speak with someone in the counseling department or the psychology department. The counseling department or the psychology department, and ask them, do they have a black male in the counseling department or the psychology department? And you can take your son to the university's counseling center and meet with the black male there, which might be a student in training, but that's fine.
Right.
If none of the ones in your area have one, then I'm certain there's a black male on staff in the counseling department or psychology department at one of the colleges in Minneapolis, including the community college. So you can find him a black male.
College. Okay.
Okay.
So don't just look for the U of M. Go to like the other little smaller
Yes.
colleges as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Contact every college, the private colleges, the Catholic college. Contact them all. There's a black male around there somewhere.
All right.
More than one, I'm sure. Okay.
And you said for counseling or
The counseling department, the psychology department. The counseling department is the department at the college that counsels college students with problems. The psychology department is the psychology academic program, but most psychologists who work for the academic psychology office, many of them are counselors too, because that's what we do as psychologists. So you want to do both. The counseling office, the psychology office, you want to get a number for both. When you call the college's main number, you want to ask for the number to the counseling department and the number to the psychology department. Okay? So that's the therapy part. So this letter is going to be about grief. You got to get your son a better therapist, but at the same time, you got to talk to your son now. Because this will slow it down, but it won't stop it. You're going to have to get on him because he's in the 7th grade. And if he's still doing this, by the time he get to high school, they're going to jam your son up.
And that's what I'm trying to get him to understand as well. And it's
It ain't about what he understands.
Okay.
Getting him to understand is good. You're not wrong there, Mom. But here's what I need you and every other mother listening to understand. Children don't change their behavior because you got them to understand something. Understanding something doesn't change a behavior. Let me give you an example. You and I are married and I'm cheating on you, right? I'm staying out all hours of the night. I come home and you get me to understand that me cheating on you is hurting you. You get me to understand that me cheating on you is causing depression. You get me to understand that me cheating on you is making you an alcoholic or a weed head. Me cheating on you is affecting your ability to do your work. You've explained all of the effects that my cheating is having on your life. Do you think that's going to stop my cheating? No, it's not. What's going to stop my cheating is when I come home and your ass ain't there no more and you went to go live with your sister for a while. That's what's going to stop my cheating because I don't want to lose my woman if you're that important to me. My point is, sister, my point is behavior is a function of consequences, not understanding. Behavior is a function of. So the question is, what consequences are you putting in place for your son at home when he don't do what he's supposed to do? That's the only question. It's okay. I can tell.
Okay, see now this is the issue that I'm running up against. My parenting has changed because of the loss of his sister.
What do you mean your parenting has changed because of the loss of a sister? And before you answer that, let me say this. You cannot afford to enable your son. If he needs therapy, get him to therapy. If you need to give him a hug and tell him you love him, give him a hug and tell him you love him. If you want to let him know, I know it's still hurting you lost your sister, nothing, that's good. But guess what? That does not replace discipline. Your number one job as a black parent with a black boy, and this is for all black parents with black boys. I have 2 girls. I wasn't blessed to have a son. Might have one in the future, but I think I'm kind of beyond that at this point, unless I marry a sister who already got sons. But anyway, your number one job is to teach that boy discipline, because if he does not have it, if he don't got it when he get to high school, we're going to be having a whole other conversation. You cannot enable him. Don't let the fact he's grieving his sister, don't let that fact make him believe he can do what the hell he want now. He still has a life to live. He still has to deal with racism, and you still have to prepare him.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, sister. I noticed.
I got what you said. It's just like I said, it's different for me now because the way I used to come off, real aggressive. You
don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive. One of the mistakes black mothers make is y'all feel you have to be aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive. You have to be consistent. The reason why you're aggressive is because you're not consistent. In other words, all you have to do is say, this is the consequence. You ain't got to yell. You ain't got to scream. You ain't got to do nothing. This is the consequence. That's it. You get aggressive when either the child doesn't respect you or you're yelling because you don't want to give a consequence. The reason mothers yell at their sons is because normally y'all too lazy to give a consequence. The yelling takes the place of the consequence. The screaming takes the place of the consequence. The raising of your voice takes the place of the consequence. Stop raising your voice. Stop yelling. Stop screaming. Be a lady. And as a lady, tell him, because you did this, this is the consequence. I don't want to hear nothing else. You don't have to yell. You don't have to get aggressive. Be consistent. The more consistent you become, the less screaming you have to do.
Okay.
You follow me on that?
I got you.
How many children you got in that house?
I have 2, but my oldest she's 21, so he's the youngest. He's it.
Wait a minute. You said your oldest is 21. Is that a male or female?
Female.
Okay. Well, she need to be helping you. The 2 younger ones, you got him, and the other one is a boy or girl.
Well, the other one is the one I said has passed away. So I only have 2, which is the 21-year-old and my son, 13.
Okay, so the other problem, he need a black male in his life.
Yeah, he does.
He got nothing but women around him. Nothing but women around him.
That's all he has.
So you know what I would do? Not only do you need to find him a therapist in Minneapolis, you need to find him a program of black men and boys in Minneapolis. I would contact the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, the black churches, the black fraternities. Okay, in other words, he go to therapy, and then right after therapy, he goes and, you know, he's in his astronomy club, a chess club, or, you know, writes a pack. He needs both.
Yeah.
Where's his biological father?
His biological father, I mean, honestly, I sent him out there to see his dad last summer, and it was just, he sent me back a nightmare, basically. Where is he?